Yeah, they're really milking the LegoTit on this one. Welcome to episode 9 of the Idiot's Odyssey. My name is Fergal O'Connor.
And I'm Eoin Murphy, and here are your headlines. Sony won't be making us sit through another Uncle Ben death scene. Blade Runner 2 won't be directed by Ridley Scott. But it will be directed by someone even better. Neill Blomkamp's attempts to rewrite the Alien universe took another twist. And if you've ever tried to stretch 15 minutes into 2 hours, then you'll understand what Warner Brothers is trying to do with the big screen version of Adventure Time.
Okay, so first off, we got an absolute slew of new Spider-Man details this week.
I'm loving the fact that there's not going to be another reboot. Because so it's basically going to be kind of like the way they did the Hulk.
Yeah, well, it's a reboot, but it won't be another origin story.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, which is kind of, it's one of the headlines from this.
Yeah, so basically the same thing that they did with the Hulk.
Yeah, it's like, we will never have to watch Uncle Ben get shot again. Okay, so we have our director, the guy who's going to be shepherding the franchise, he's going to be writing as well. And it's Drew Goddard, the guy who wrote Cabin in the Woods. And he also directed that. He worked with Joss Whedon on that. He's been a staff writer on a bunch of Joss Whedon and J.J. Abrams shows. So he's paid his dues as a writer. Plus, The Cabin in the Woods is absolutely fantastic in terms of the way it's written and directed.
He's relatively young as a director, is he?
Definitely, yeah. But he's got a lot of experience in the writer's room. And working closely with Joss Whedon, who, of course, is a great script doctor. So, he's seen one of the greats at work in terms of shepherding the story together, yeah. Plus, there is the fact, I think he has written the adaptation of The Martian that's coming out this year, yeah. Which there was a lot of hype around that script last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he comes highly recommended. I think picking him as director is kind of a positive step for the franchise. It shows...
I thought they might actually just try and put it back in really, really, really safe hands. To be honest, I thought that's what they were going to do after they, because thank God we got it back off Sony. I didn't think they were going to go and turn around and give it to someone who hadn't that many films under his belt.
Well, the problem is, what are safe hands?
I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't
know, that's not my job.
The thing is, they are Marvel guiding the technical side of things now. I would assume.
Yeah, as in, I think Marvel are the safety net, or the safety web, if you will.
Yeah, so that means they can afford to take someone on who's going to be really creative and maybe even a little risky in terms of the approach to the character, which is kind of the most exciting thing possible. Like, think in terms of when Whedon came on board for the Avengers.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right, actually. And Whedon didn't have that many films directed before that.
Yeah, he had Serenity.
Yeah,
and that was pretty much his only film credit.
Yeah, that's true. And he directed his own TV series most of the time, but
yeah. Then again, Whedon did have a long history of film scripts. I mean, Toy Story, that Die Hard on a Bridge film that never got bought.
They are almost a different thing completely, though. Almost.
Yeah, but I think the point is the Marvel machine, it will, if you have a story to tell, the Marvel machine will handle the technical side of things.
Yes.
It's like you don't have to be James Cameron in terms of the technology.
They've got enough producers on the buns, is it?
Yeah, it's they've got some of the best tech guys in the world working for them at this point, really.
Okay.
So it's going to be a new actor, apparently, probably an unknown, and the idea is that he's going to kind of grow up with the role the same way Daniel Radcliffe grew up with Harry Potter.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I hate to bring up the name of he who must not be named.
Well, there's nothing wrong with Daniel Radcliffe or Harry Potter, but the thing is, it's just come on, as in, what exactly are they going with here?
I was okay with one part of that sentence where he said there was nothing wrong with Daniel Radcliffe, because I think he's been trying to turn things around. But Harry Potter, Harry Potter was just a kind of a gaping cesspool of films that were made for kids and fans, and that didn't actually.
I don't
work
think
as
that's
films.
literally what they're not literally trying to do with that. Obviously, because I think we kind of knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because they had said that it was going to be high school setting, so obviously it was going to be someone around that age.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you could have always had an actor who would in fact be in his mid to late 20s, would in fact look like a 16 or 17-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely.
but apparently they're not going that angle, or they are going that angle. It's still not confirmed, you know. It doesn't really change anything to me.
It's kind of that idea that if they're going to be showing the character maturing at that age, and if they're going to be following and maturing, then it's more artistic to show him aging physically as well. Like, think of this as Sony's version of Boyhood.
What I'm saying is that I already knew. Oh, that's a good one now. But what I'm saying is that I think we already knew that they were going to bring on a younger actor.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't necessarily confirmed, though, because there's a whole range of Spider-Man, and they've explored.
So this basically rules out Donald Glover taking over as Miles Morris, doesn't it?
I do believe, unless there's CGI involved, Donald Glover is out.
Yeah.
Yeah. The film will involve the Sinister Six coming together with the thought to later maybe spin them off. Oh. So that Sinister Six spin-off team is still in the works.
Yeah, I don't think that was ever going to be an issue. But does that mean, you got Spider-Man and also all of his enemies?
Yeah,
even if you don't want them, they're just there.
This makes me nervous.
I wonder if this was a part of the deal that Sony made with Marvel.
It's entirely possible. It could be more that Sony has sunk resources into the Sinister Six already.
Yeah,
and they're kind of scared of pulling those resources out.
The thing is, I don't even want to get into the Sinister Six argument because, no.
And the first plot details that are after leaking out, pre-script, a major part of the first film will involve Spider-Man fighting Iron Man and then trying to pass the audition to join the Avengers.
Right.
Yeah.
I assume it's not going to be like The Voice where they're all going to turn around. Oh!
Yeah. Oh my god, it was Spider-Man all along. I know this sounds cheesy at first, but
I don't think they mean it a literal audition, I should say.
Yeah, it's kind of the silliest way to put what's actually not an awful idea. I mean, as far as I can remember, this isn't actually territory that's been explored before.
Well, it's certainly an interesting thing, but so basically, don't think of it as an addition. It's more like seeing what he's about.
Yeah.
But I wonder if he'll actually be told at the start, we're watching you to see if you can join the Avengers, or if they're just going to watch him from the side, as in that'll be the cameo kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think there are more interesting ways to approach a material like this. In terms of Spider-Man, they don't necessarily have to go back to Uncle Ben's death, but they can still have that as part of his background.
I'm pretty sure that he was never actually in the Avengers for the most part in the actual comics, because of the fact that Spider-Man doesn't really desire to kill people, right? That's kind of his last resort.
Okay.
Whereas in the Avengers, it's much more of a focal point, I think.
Yeah. So
basically, and he is usually considered much younger. So what I'm saying is that he's almost considered too young for the Avengers in most times.
Yeah, but
and now they're actually making him the youngest he'll probably ever be in it. So
which is interesting, but I mean, young in age is not necessarily young in attitude.
Yeah, but that's.
But I think in terms of the Spider-Man character, he has always been young in attitude as well. I mean, like he's always there making quips to the guys he ties up, not killing anyone.
Do you still think that I know Andrew Garfield won't be appearing in it, but do you think they'll keep anyone from the Sony leg of it?
I kind of hope not, just because I'm hoping.
You want a fresh take?
Yeah, I would like to see Andrew Garfield back, but I think he's too tainted by now. Yeah. I feel like they need to keep it the maximum distance possible.
Yeah, so basically it's probably that he got sick of the spandex riding up on him.
Yeah, because he got sick of being involved in fucking dog shit films.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those.
I think basically he took the safe option of just removing himself from the franchise.
Yeah. Now, Andrew Garfield might not be coming back to his role as Spider-Man, but someone who is reprising an old role is none other than Harrison Ford, who is coming back for Blade Runner 2.
This is actually pretty good news, except for the fact that Blade Runner 2 is a thing, because I love Blade Runner as a standalone science fiction film.
Well, they've tried this before. Wasn't there a spiritual sequel to Blade Runner back in the 90s that was pretty universally reviled? Okay.
It was Soldiers in 1998, which was directed by the bad Paul Anderson.
Yeah, the very bad Paul Anderson.
That's Paul W.S. Anderson.
Yeah, Paul W.S. Anderson, basically, he made one like really awesome film, Event Horizon, and then he just started whipping us around the eye holes with crap. Paul W.S. Anderson, bad. P.T. Anderson, good.
Yes.
Yeah. Plus, Blade Runner, actual sequel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because just to clarify, Soldiers, I don't think it was really wasn't really a sequel. It was a spiritual successor or sidequel, but it was basically that it was based in the same universe more than anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're drawing a line under that.
And we in no way, shape, or form just Wikipedia that at all.
No.
Okay,
no.
Moving on to the second awesome piece of Blade Runner news, besides the fact that we're getting Harrison Ford back.
Yes.
Yeah, is that we are getting a super sick director for this one. It's he's one of my favorite directors working right now. I mean, he showed up in my top 5 last year for doing Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes. And he was brilliant in prison. He was brilliant directing Prisoners as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like he's capable.
Which also starred Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman actually.
So if they want to throw Jake Gyllenhaal in the new Blade Runner, I'd be interested to see how that one turns out. But moving beyond like what I'd like to see in it, the thing that really excites me about his work is how he's able to take really weird stories and handle them in a way that's kind of is dramatically engaging, but he still doesn't scale back on the complexity.
Yeah, and like there was a lot of originally, I think that that Prisoners was struggling to get a rating that was suitable enough.
Yeah,
because some scenes were too violent, like in the box scene, if you will.
Yeah,
and so he had to actually scale back a few. So he's not afraid of pushing those kind of boundaries.
Yeah, very much so. Plus,
emotionally driven stuff as well. It was very emotional movie, and
definitely. Plus, Enemy really pushes the boundaries in terms of what you can get away with doing to an audience. Where it pushes them in a different way. I don't want to talk about it without because it'll kind of spoil the film. But he doesn't.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, let's just say Denis Villeneuve. He is not afraid to go to the weirdest places you ever seen a film go, and I think that's exactly the sort of adventurous spirit we need for a Blade Runner sequel.
Because I heard that Harrison Ford said it was like one of the best scripts he's ever read.
Yeah, I mean.
Although maybe he's just comparing it to he's comparing it to George Lucas scripts or something.
Yeah, I mean, once you've read some of that crap, you don't come back from that. I mean, like reading those, he might have read those prequel scripts, and if he did, they might have actually brain damaged them. Because
how would he?
I'm pretty certain that if you read the script for any of the Star Wars prequels, it will cause actual brain damage.
Speaking of the script, has there been any word in what year it'll take place in, or how long will have passed?
Several decades after, I think, is the word right now.
Alright, but when it'll start shooting, I wonder?
No idea. I mean, this thing, it's still sort of...
Because we're dangerously close. Like, I wonder if they'll adapt the times, because we're dangerously close to when the first one took place in. Because the first one took place in 2019 years, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that especially matters.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But that'd be more that'd be more production stunt than anything.
I think if they were going to do something like that, I think what would actually happen is that they probably just give another release of it or something. You know, maybe they would put them both back to back in 2019.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. But basically,
that would be kind of cool.
If Denis Villeneuve's schedule lines up with their schedule. I reckon
go as soon as possible.
You shoot right now before you lose the amazing director, because this guy is on another level. He's a top tier director right now,
and he's just he's kind of been just outside the kind of crust of the main thing. Yeah. So now he's kind of Prisoners and Enemy have probably really driven him into the limelight.
Well, not necessarily Enemy. I mean, even Prisoners was kind of weird.
But Prisoners was pretty damn high.
Oh yeah, it was high profile, but it was very weird in terms of the way the film was approached, say ideologically, and even in terms of some of the story twists. they said different things about the philosophy of the film than you would have expected a mainstream film to do.
But what I do like about
Enemy was fucking batshit insane.
Actually,
if you showed that sitting in a cinema, you would give people headaches, and there'd be walkouts after, say, 25 minutes, and if people stayed towards the end, they would burn the screen.
Okay, but actually, speaking of Prisoners has this constant kind of moral dilemma in it.
Yeah.
Which is actually one of the major things with Blade Runner, the first one.
Yes.
In that there is this moral and mortality kind of dilemma going on there.
Yeah.
So that's also an interesting kind of choice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's a director who can deal with that kind of complexity.
That's exactly
what
I'm saying. Yeah, as in that he can kind of hook onto that kind of stuff very well.
Yeah, and it's just very exciting to see him being given the opportunity to work with this material, and hopefully the material's good.
Hopefully so. And now you may remember in last week's episode, we talked about how Neill Blomkamp was going to be the Alien director for the next Alien film, I should say. And after that, there was a lot of news back and forth whether or not this new Alien film, when it would take place in the line. And at one stage, one story kind of cropped up that it would replace or whatever, or remove Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection. But apparently, Neill Blomkamp has said that's not going to be the thing.
Yeah.
And
although it sounds like he's got his own idea, but I think he's still being very unclear on where this is going.
Yeah. And it sounds more like it's going to be Aliens, Neill Blomkamp's Alien, and then Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection. That's pretty much what it's sounding like, right?
Yeah.
Which I have no problem with, but we'll see how that works out, I don't know.
Yeah, it just seems like he's kind of leaping back and forth across the line, and I have no idea what exactly he means when he says that he doesn't want to write those out of continuity while still writing an interquel.
Yeah, an interquel where where both the main actor and the main actress will be older, obviously.
Yeah, he's a talented dude. Very interested to see how this one goes. Plus,
and of course, as I say, main actress and the main actor, as in Sigourney Weaver has already said that she's in. But also Michael Biehn has also kind of more or less said he's in. Like, as in, he was asked whether he'd been contacted about the new Alien film, and he said yes. And then whether he was asked would he appear in it, what he had said, it was more of a looks like it kind of thing. Which actually, just adds to surely, how are they going to make that work? As in, he obviously looks older than he did in the 80s. So
yeah, well, it's clearly Neill Blomkamp has an idea.
As in, yeah, obviously, yeah.
And if that idea includes a sensible way to include Michael Biehn, even if he has to stretch a little, I'll be more than happy to see Michael Biehn back playing Hicks.
Yeah, that would be sweet. And of course, what's probably going to happen, what's been logicked out as the most reasonable logic is that the first stop that they made after Aliens was not the prison planet, but was in fact wherever Neill Blomkamp's Alien will take place.
Yeah. Which
it would be really handy if we had a title or something to go on.
Yeah, but I think it's all speculation at this
point.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's just speculation. But that's as far as I can see it so far.
I've seen the art, this is all we have to go on in terms of plot, and I think whatever he's working on, it sounds very cool. It sounds possibly innovative. I think I'm going off too few scraps. But just the fact that off those few scraps, I'm kind of scratching my head going, how the hell is he going to do that?
I could see maybe something to do with reversing time at the end of the episode or something, at the end of the film or something, to bring them back to how they would have looked then. I don't know. Yeah. I got nothing,
it's just, it's good news all around in any case.
To be honest, what I think, what's generating in my head right now is kind of the end of Stargate SG-1. Where they basically were all aged 50 years, and then at the end of the episode, they all got pulled back by 50 years.
Yeah, I think
most of them.
The key thing here is that time travels. I think I've said it before. It's a lot like magic, And a lot like magic, as soon as you put it into your film, you need to be very careful in order to make your film not devolve into absolute bullshit.
The thing is, as in, if you include it, you have to include it either right and get it completely spot on. Because if you get it wrong, not only will people poke the hell out of those holes, but it'll just wreck it.
Yeah, like, always time travel responsibly, never drink and time travel.
Please keep your hands and feet inside the vehicles at all times.
Absolutely.
And do not have sex with your mother.
Yeah. Don't have sex with your mother.
A new Avengers Age of Ultron trailer was released this week, and it gave a few plot details, but it was pretty damn good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an awesome trailer. Like, I almost hate watching these trailers, just because they give so bloody much of the film away.
I don't think it gave that much, because I think a lot of it we knew what was going to happen, but it gave a little bit of insight. And like, if you were paying attention to all the other trailers, you would have kind of known this was what was going to happen.
Yeah, but it gives us more scraps again. It gives us more ideas of what's going to happen.
We also see that they are going to kind of maintain a good bit of the comedy that's been Marvel's trademark so far.
Yeah, and it was especially Joss Whedon's trademark, I think, in terms of his approach to the previous Avengers film.
Yeah, exactly. But it is notably darker, and I think they're kind of admitted within the thing in themselves.
Yeah.
As in within the actual trailer, like Iron Man, as in Tony and Captain America are actually talking and do kind of say they're not going to make it out.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of the villain as well,
yeah.
I mean, Loki was he was an off-earth villain. I mean, it was
a tiny bit campy.
Yeah, that's fair, but I think there were kind of scenes. The scenes where he makes everyone bow was kind of a very obvious reference to subjugation, slavery, and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it was like a silly alien threat from other dimensions or something that was not of our own making. And the fact that the villain this time is more of our own making.
This is actually more kind of like Rise of the Machines. It's almost like a Terminator job, like.
It does seem kind of cool that we have a villain who this time is like, the idea is...
the threat isn't from outer space, it's actually from internally.
Yeah, and the idea is you've thrown me away, you have mistreated me. This time it's a villain of your own making, which is a cooler villain. And I think in the first one you could see that Loki was a tiny bit the villain of Thor's own making.
Yeah, whereas this is almost Tony Stark's more kind of, it was his making. It's a S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of making, because I assume that S.H.I.E.L.D. actually gave him the all clear and all this.
Yeah, and Tony's a human. I mean, Thor's a fucking alien. Yeah. I mean, like, he's coming to our planet stealing our women.
Yeah, good point. What I also noticed is that you do see a lot more interaction with Ultron and Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that kind of tells us pretty firmly what side they're going to be on.
Yeah, I think this was kind of we already had this feeling, but also I was kind of watching it, and I wonder if Quicksilver will be as overpowered as he was in X-Men: Days of Future Past.
There was that one shot where like he kind of whoops.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's like he kind of bitch slaps the captain and then runs away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're going to kind of, because it looks like he's going to be in the film a lot more than X-Men's Quicksilver was. So we'll see, you know. Of course, again, trailers can always be mistaken for something else.
Yeah. Okay. This is all speculation. Again,
yeah, I can't believe.
But just say
it does look like it's going to be darker now.
Yeah, they almost need. It almost works that Quicksilver is as overpowered or more overpowered than he was in the X-Men. Because in that he was a protagonist that would have made the film very short.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but if he's an antagonist in this, then he gives the protagonist a huge challenge to overcome.
Well, you don't think they have enough of a challenge when Ultron owns the internet? Or he is the internet.
Yeah, it's like
he is everything. Like
he is Skynet.
Yeah, pretty much. Now you mentioned how we're going to have the threat coming from ourselves, from Earth, but also it's very much made clear that Ultron's plan is to kind of like divide and conquer almost as well, because the Avengers are going to fall out, or it looks like they're falling out with each other as well, and this has probably got something to do with because this is technically Tony's fault.
Yeah, I mean, there is that discord that they're trying to sow for, let's say, certain future plot lines that they might be trying to explore that may or may not be called Captain America Civil War, say. But I think the idea is that they're trying to alter the dynamic. They're not just trying to rest on their laurels with these superhero films.
This is definitely the twist, the kind of the push it needed in terms of like they do need to crack this team.
Definitely, and I think it's nice to see that they've got or hopefully have an overarching story in mind.
Oh, and in just at the very end of the trailer, of course, that we do see the eyes of Vision.
Yeah, which it was cool because he's been hinted for a while.
Yeah,
now.
He's been hinted at in a few of the posters anyway, and he will be voiced by this. He will be voiced and portrayed by the same actor who. Paul Bettany, who voices Jarvis.
Yeah, which Paul Bettany can act, and it was good. It was cool. I mean, I don't really have a reason to be excited about Vision yet.
No, but he is. As far as I can, the only thing I can remember about him, besides the fact that he is in fact an android, is that he can move at the speed of thought. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think plus the more characters they add to the thing, the more nervous I get about how they're going to handle individual characters.
Yeah, we don't know how they're going to handle him because he could be different or he could be the same as his comic book version.
But then again, if there's one person who's shown that he can handle ensemble films, that'll be Joss Whedon. Yeah. So, in Whedon we trust.
Indeed. In the last few years, it's been made very much apparent that the internet really wants Leo DiCaprio to win an Oscar. So if playing 24 different personalities doesn't do it, I don't know what bloody will.
Yeah, this is a stunt. This is Leonardo DiCaprio just desperately begging, please, I just want one gold statue. It's like, you can have all the models and money back, I just want one of those statues you keep handing out every year. And
it's going to be... He's going to have 24 personalities based on the... in a film which is based on the book called The Minds of Billy Milligan.
Yeah, which is a non-fiction book. It's a non-fiction book about a guy with 24 fucking multiple personalities. I mean, this is something else. This might be the single biggest stunt role I can think of.
I mean, the thing is, Atticus McGuinness, right? He played a role that involved, I think, 7 or 8 different characters.
Yep.
Can't remember the name of the film off the top of my head. And we've had Eddie Murphy do it in comedies, and usually have it in comedies, but we never have it where it's all in the one head, right, of one person. And just to give it a quick read, 24 people live inside Billy Milligan. Philip, a petty criminal. Kevin, who dealt drugs and masterminded a drugstore robbery. April, whose only ambition was to kill Billy's stepfather. David, the 8-year-old keeper of pain. Arthur, the Englishman. Regan, the keeper of rage. Alan, the conman. Tommy, the escape artist. Like, the hell? This is like he's got an entire village in there.
I don't understand how it is possible to portray this on screen. I'm like, it sounds like...
Oh, now the film will be also the film... Sorry?
Well, it's just the thing that I think of when I hear this is... It sounds like an incredibly powerful performance.
Yeah.
It sounds like a portrayal
I think there's going to be
madness.
serious degree of overacting, I can imagine, because...
I don't necessarily know about overacting.
But the thing is, it's going to be called The Crowded Room, and like that seems like a fitting title in there.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's a difference between overacting and just portraying a guy who's fucking stone cold nuts.
Well, you see, the thing is, they're not stone cold nuts. As in, he's not portraying a guy who's stone cold nuts. He's portraying one guy who's probably having... Sorry?
He's portraying a guy with 24 different personalities.
But the thing is, none of them are actually insane. They're all actually believe themselves to be real people.
But he's portraying 24 different sane personalities, which are all going to be pouring out of the same insane mouth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this kind of the thing of if you know you're insane, you're not insane?
I don't think that applies when there are 24 personalities involved. It's like if you know you're insane, you're still insane. You have 24 fucking people in your head. Fix that.
Okay. Keep in mind, we do not condone violence against the mentally ill.
No. But, maybe you need to go somewhere with a couch or a straitjacket if there are 24 voices in your head.
Now, so surely he's in search for one golden statue, maybe 24. We don't know.
Yeah, but the reference that I want to make here is this. It's a portrayal of a mentally ill man. It's like if it's good, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Like a performance for the ages, which reminds me a lot of Jake Gyllenhaal's Snob this year.
Are you saying his Nightcrawler one or
Nightcrawler?
Okay,
yeah. And Jennifer Lawrence is going to be a very busy girl this year because it seems like we've had casting news for her every week. This week she's joining up with Steven Spielberg to portray a war photographer in his next film, It's What I Do. She's going to be playing, Lindsay Addario, the award-winning international photojournalist who travelled to war-torn countries and won the MacArthur Fellowship in 2008 and won a Pulitzer Prize in 2009 for international reporting for work during the war, and was jailed for several days in Libya in 2011. So this woman has been deeply involved in the war.
So this is obviously based on a true story, yeah?
Yeah. And now Hollywood is reteaming Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke with their Training Day director Antoine Fuqua for a remake of The Magnificent Seven.
We should also start Chris Pratt, yeah? Is he still in the film?
Yeah, Chris Pratt and Haley Bennett are also on the cast list.
Okay, just to clarify now, of The Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
Right, which is in itself a reimagining or whatever to The Seven Samurai?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a sort of remake of a remake here. The
A
only
remake
thing
of a
is,
reimagining, a remake of a reboot. I don't know. A remake of remake. Fucking hell.
it's too confusing. But it's
only confusing if you think about it.
Yeah, which I'm going to try very hard not to do for the rest of the story. But if you told me like this about 10 years ago, I would have been so excited. But ever since, Antoine Fuqua, he's made The Equalizer, which I haven't seen. That's his most recent work. And he's made Shooter.
That was also had Denzel Washington, yeah.
Yeah. He made Shooter, the Mark Wahlberg Sniper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that thing. And he made Olympus Has Fallen.
Ah.
Yeah.
So he was the guy doing that.
How can I put this? This is the guy who made the bad White House Down.
I'm sure Roland Emmerich will be delighted that you said that, and that he won one battle, and
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I enjoyed White House Down. Like it was actually a fun film for what it was. It was one of Roland Emmerich's better efforts. It was just a fun, goofy action film.
Well, they pretty much all are. To be fair, he's probably like the generation before Michael Bay.
Yeah, it's almost an insult at this point to compare any director to Michael Bay.
Yes,
just because
except for that guy who directed Ninja Turtles, who was trying to replicate Michael Bay.
Yeah, if Michael Bay is who you're trying to replicate, you've got problems.
Now, the question I have though is that is it going to take place at the same time that the original Magnificent Seven took place?
No idea. The details on the ground are kind of sparse.
All right.
Yeah, but I guess this is Antoine Fuqua's kind of his chance to redeem himself.
So how many of the seven do they have?
Well, assuming Chris Pratt and Haley Bennett and Hawke and Washington are actually members of the seven, they got their four. Yeah.
Oh, so the four somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. And speaking of fun kind of goofy Roland Emmerich action films, more details are after coming out this week about the Independence Day sequel called Independence Day 2 appropriately.
I think it's Independence Day
Independence Harder?
No, Independence Forever. I don't know, man.
Okay, it's got a title which of some sort.
Yeah.
But the point being, they're after casting a lead, a guy called Jesse Usher. Who will be playing Will Smith's son.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Well, he won't be playing Jaden Smith. He will be playing the son of Will Smith's character from the first.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Because we didn't need Jaden Smith playing anything close to the lead role in Independence Day 2, Independence Day Forever.
Yeah.
Independence Forever. I don't care now.
Yeah, that would be kind of upsetting. But the more interesting news, because this guy right now, his record is somewhat limited. I haven't seen much of his work.
He's got less than Jaden Smith.
Well, no, it's not that he's got less. I mean, he's been kind of chipping away for a while. It's just I haven't seen anything he's put out. But Liam Hemsworth's been cast.
Yeah, was that rumored last time we talked about it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And we're getting Jeff Goldblum back.
Thank God.
Which is fantastic.
He was probably the best part of that.
Yeah, I mean,
and he basically played a very similar role that he did in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I mean,
where he was the scientist who was actually thinking a bit about what the hell was going on.
Definitely, yeah. And Jeff Goldblum kind of excels in that kind of quiet, weird nerd role. With he's just really good at it. I mean, he's got this weird sort of funny energy to him. Where
the thing is, if there was anyone coming back, I would have wanted him to be the one coming back. You know.
Yeah, and it's definitely exciting that he is back on the spaceship or whatever the hell they happen to be riding this time around.
In Walking Dead news, the season 5 will have a 90-minute series finale, which. Because the first episode of the series, as in the first episode of season 1 and the first episode of season 2, both were 90-minute episodes. So this is interesting, I suppose. But more than that, it's not just interesting in terms of the timing, but it's more important the significance. Because does this mean we're actually going to have the big kind of invasion of the walkers at the end of it, or are we going to have the big kind of confrontation at the gates? If it goes by the comics, which it has so far this season, relatively speaking, since they got to Alexandria.
Yeah.
So we'll see, I guess, is the big thing. But it's certainly interesting that they're going to go for a 90-minute one. Effectively, they're going to make a mini movie at the end of the season.
Yeah, I've got a tiny bit of a different take on this.
Yeah.
And it's just I was reading this Variety article today, which actually it puts these kind of things in a different perspective. Where lately, the TV companies have been trying to create event television a lot.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's they'll start instead of a season break. Now we have the winter finale.
Yeah, we know.
The new debut.
But the thing is, they already have been doing that. But now this is going to be 90 minutes long instead of your usual 50 or 45 minutes.
Yeah, but what they're
or hour long. I don't
from the marketing side, it might not necessarily be from a practical side. It could be that aspect of creating an event by creating a 90-minute finale.
Having
that's
having as many people as possible to sit down for it.
Yeah, bingo.
I don't know. I just feel like hopefully there'll just be something that deserves 90 minutes, not just 90 minutes of fluff.
Yeah, which ideally they're going to go out and high for this season.
I can see them doing it that way. I don't think there's going to be the dramatic fall of Alexandria this so soon, as in 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So it might just be, like I was saying, the thing at the gate, or maybe something, or maybe the execution. I'm trying to be as vague as possible here.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah, I could see that possibly.
Yeah, but I mean, a 90-minute season finale, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a big action event. It can be a big character event in terms of shifting the dynamics of the group, or completely splitting the group apart, say.
To be honest, if any way, I think they're going to just like reach. There's going to be a climatic peak in like relationships going on and the thing. Yeah. If they're not going to go full complete like action spectacle. A la Too Far Gone.
Yeah. So for people who like The Flash and people who like The Arrow, and I know there are a fair few crossover fans out there, CW is developing yet another superhero spin-off connected to the two shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this kind of like Justice League for the TV, or what is it?
I think so. I think it's probably an excuse to have another comic book.
They're cashing in, and they may as well go full bloody hog on it.
Yeah, I think it's actually starring Brandon Routh,
also known as Superman from Superman Returns. You know the.
We got Brandon Routh, Katie Lotz, along with the Flash's Victor Garber, and Wentworth Miller.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Schofield
Michael Schofield, who will be playing villain Captain Cold. Captain Cold.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know how to feel about this. I know there are people who are well into both shows, so I guess this is exciting news for them.
But this does feel like a cash grab, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. You could see it as an ambition thing. Like, let's expand our universe a little more. Let's see what we can do with these characters.
Will it be because Brendan Roth is he supposed to be playing the Atom or something?
He is, yeah. So I guess they've got their headliner for the show anyway. This is a good thing. You're getting more of what you like, and even though it could be seen as a cash grab, I guess if people are willing to pay for the product, then having more of that product available to them is a good thing.
Exactly.
So I remember saying after Rosamund Pike's performance at the Oscars was performance in Gone Girl was so well received, although she did look pretty good at the Oscars, I remember saying I hope that we see more of Rosamund Pike because she's a damn good actress.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing more of Rosamund Pike being a damn good actress. She's going to be in The Deep Blue Goodbye opposite Christian Bale.
So she's basically swapped Batmans, yeah?
She has swapped Batmans. So she's got a top tier co-star. It's going to be directed by James Mangold, who is a very good director.
As in the Wolverine,
Copland, 310 to Yuma. This guy's got a really solid resume. Yeah. He's got,
yeah. The Russell Crowe film.
Yeah, James Mangold has managed to consistently impress me with his consistency, I guess. This time, it's the first in a series of 21 books that follow Travis McGee, Bale's character, a self-described salvage consultant who recovers others' property for a fee, and along the way gets into trouble fighting bad guys and wooing women. So it sounds like the James Bond of the Sea dump. I don't know what's going on here, but it's
emphasis on dump.
Yeah, it sounds like they've got a good team behind it. You've got Rosamund Pike, Christian Bale, and James Mangold. Yeah, a series of 21 books. Go figure. This is I'm pretty certain this is airport novel level material if there's 21 books in the series. But that being said, damn good director behind it. Damn good actors in the lead roles. These are people who are going down choices of material. So hopefully they've seen something in this.
The Cartoon Network cartoon series, which Adventure Time, which usually comprises of 15-minute stories, has been given a green light to have a full feature-length movie, which we'll see anyway how that works out. But behind it will be Roy Lee, who's usually acted as a producer so far, and Chris McKay, who's acted as a director of Robot Chicken and will direct the Lego Batman film.
Yeah.
So the thing is that while only most of these episodes have only been 15-minute long, and so usually they're packaged as 2 15-minute longs, there is a big world there to explore, right?
Yeah.
And they can always go into the characters, and of course they have the Great Mushroom War to go into, and all this kind of stuff. I've only seen a few episodes, but it is an intriguing kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, Adventure Time's cute. I feel like one of the kind of more appealing things about it is just the fact that it's so easy to pick up and put down.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, so
and this is why it's majorly been favored by stoners worldwide.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can guarantee that when it actually does come out, half the place would probably be full of stoners.
Yeah, I mean, like, the cinemas might actually have to roll back to no smoking policy for this one. Because, yeah, it feels weird though. I mean, like, this is normally just an easily digestible 15-minute thing. So, I mean,
the thing is, they can't go too deep into it because they don't want it going too serious, you know.
Yeah, but I think a film has different demands, and I'm very curious to see how they address those. I mean, I'm excited to see how they tackle the challenge.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely an intriguing idea, but I suppose the fans have been wanting this for quite a while, so, you know.
Yeah.
They got theirs.
Yeah, well, be careful what you wish for in a way.
Exactly,
because now they actually have to put together a 90-minute film, which is going to drain a lot of resources for actually making the 15-minute little clips that you love so much. But
well, they are pretty high quality, and they do spin out a lot of them. I think they're onto they're into at least 7 or 8 series now, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing now.
Yeah, they're pretty deep in any case.
Yeah. Back to comic book news, or comic book TV series news. Superman will appear in CBS's Supergirl. Kind of. In that it's actually Dean Cain who portrayed Superman and Clark Kent in the 90s, I think, TV show Superman and Lois's Adventures, whatever it was called.
Yeah, was it called Lois and Clark?
Yes, that's what it was called. The Adventures of Superman. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of it's nice that they're showing a sort of reverence. But back also, to old TV series, even if those old TV series weren't necessarily very good. And
also, Helen Slater, who played Supergirl in the 1984 film, will also appear in it. Now, the roles haven't actually been... We don't know actually what they'll be portraying, who they will be, but we do know that they will be appearing in the series.
Yeah,
which will star Melissa Benoist as Supergirl.
Yeah, it's another selling point, really. It's a nice way to drum up publicity. It shows the fans that you're after doing your research. Although I guess you didn't have to research very hard necessarily, but it shows that a bit of effort's been put in. Yeah,
it shows kind of commitment to the fans as well, where they're willing to please the old fans of the old series, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like the fans can perk up in their seat and be like, "This show is crap," but hey, it's that guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice little cameo. Bryan Singer has agreed to direct the film adaptation of the 1966 novel called The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. He'll be teaming up with Fox, and the film will be titled Uprising. The storyline of the novel was a lunar colony revolts against Earth rule. Obviously, it's based in the future.
Yeah.
This sounds like a pretty interesting plot, although I could see it getting really bogged down in science fiction.
Well, I mean, the novel itself is pretty revered, and I assume
I think it won multiple awards when it came out.
Yeah, and I assume it's not because they're telling a fucking generic rebellion story. And I mean, the blurb that we were given there, well, I'm like, they haven't given us much to go on, but I'm assuming that the novel itself, it did have some innovations or kind of things in its approach that are going to make this material exciting, and hopefully those are what Singer's adapting.
Yeah.
As opposed to, here we're going to have a war between people on Earth and the Moon. It's going to be sick. Because Bryan Singer doesn't really seem like that. I don't
think it's just going to be a full-out war. I think it'll be a bit more sophisticated than that.
Yeah.
I think it was a case that other attempts to do it never kicked off, and eventually the actual rights just went back to the owners, and they decided to give the actual film rights to Fox.
Yeah, which is a totally reasonable thing to do if you want.
And I think if you got anyone in the seat, I think Bryan Singer is a good choice.
Yeah, it is a little bit exciting as well that maybe they were finding it difficult to adapt this material in some way, because
it means it's not just generic, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm like, this is completely speculative on my part.
Yeah,
maybe there were technological challenges or challenges in how to approach the script. And whenever challenges like that arise...
I was thinking the moon would be a problem. Go on.
Yeah, that could be a bit tricky.
I'm not too fan of the kind of generic, kind of like catchy title called Uprising. It's just a bit too.
It's like, well, they had an interesting title, and now they've made it generic and shitty, but probably easier to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I can see that, as long as they don't make the whole film generic and shitty. So, in more science fiction news, Wilmer Valderrama, who you might remember as Fez from that 70s show, is after joining the Fox pilot for Minority Report. If anyone remembers the film, I assume a lot of you will. It was kind of this idea of solving crimes before they happen, of realizing of using technology that could prove that people were going to commit crimes before they committed the crimes.
Is this a follow-up to it, or is this like the TV version of it?
I don't know where it sits in the timeline. I think it's designed as a sequel.
That doesn't, because I thought at the end of it wasn't the idea of the precogs was, kind of ruled not the way forward. So are they going to try and re-kickstart it or whatever?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, in Minority Report, they didn't rule that the precog system was broken. They ruled that someone was after being a dickhead with the precog system.
Yes, but as in they could be manipulated, so it wasn't foolproof. So therefore, they didn't continue with it. They didn't put it worldwide.
Yeah, just because it's not foolproof doesn't necessarily mean that it's not better than the current system, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But do you think this will mean that they have it on a nationwide scale, or would it still be within the city that it was based in?
No idea. I mean, if again, moving in speculative territory here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you're warned of that, I mean, it would be a kind of a cool idea if the precog program was under pressure, and this was about a detective trying to redeem the program.
To be honest, I think it would be a hell of a lot easier for it to just be like a prequel, or like maybe it's happening at the same time.
Yeah, I think a prequel. The problem is that it is easy.
Oh yes,
yeah. I mean, like if you have all this history behind it, I mean, you've number one, you're going to make people watch Minority Report more just to get some of the backstory. You get to make back references, and it's just it seems to fit in better in terms of creating an interesting piece of television.
Yeah, that's true, I suppose.
Yeah, let's see. Actually, just looking at the team behind this, you've got Max Bornstein writing it, who wrote Godzilla, the 2014 one. It's okay, yeah. And the showrunner is Kevin Falls, who ran Franklin and Bash and ran The West Wing for a few seasons.
Franklin and Bash was really. I was very disappointed when that was cancelled, and of course The West Wing is just phenomenal.
Yeah, so Kevin Falls comes highly recommended.
But I don't I assume he's a producer, is he, or is he showrunner?
He's showrunner this time. Yeah, and
interesting to see now.
They are executive producing, and it's also being executive produced by Spielberg and Spielberg's collaborators Darryl Frank and Justin Falvey.
Seeing as that Spielberg was the director for the first one, for Minority Report.
Yeah, so they've got a hell of a team in the writers' room, and I'm interested to see where this one goes.
Yeah, same.
So it looks like Warner Brothers is after joining in with MGM on the Tomb Raider reboot.
Oh God, is this a thing?
This is the thing, yeah. Now,
as in they're rebooting the film, is it?
Yeah, they're rebooting the film. Fortunately, what they're going to do is they're going to kind of make us forget those shitty Tomb Raider films that came out before by making even shittier films. At least that's the way it looks like.
The horror.
Yeah. They are after hiring a guy called Evan Doherty to write the script. Evan Doherty's credits include Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Divergent, and Snow White and the Huntsman.
Wow, that sounds like a heavy bag of shit and cash.
This is exactly the sort of crap that I can't believe this guy's still getting work unless someone else screwed up all of those projects. Maybe this guy is fantastically talented secretly.
But someone butchered his work after he walked out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we can only hope.
But it is.
It's not looking like it, is it?
Yeah, this doesn't look great. I'm not filled with high hopes. And now on to a little bit of awesome news. We have some updates on the Lego Movie.
Cool.
Yep. The sequel has director. It's community director Rob Schrab, who's only done TV work up until now.
Mm-hmm.
Which it seems like an odd choice.
Well, yeah, these things happen, but also, I'm assuming that means that's because the two guys who directed the first one will be sticking with 23 Jump Street.
I don't know, but they are writing the sequel.
They are writing it.
Yeah, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are back.
Maybe they just want a different angle on it.
Yeah, plus it's entirely possible they'll stay on as producers or something along those lines.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Because it'll be nice to see them shepherding the second film through, because they handled the first one very well.
Will this be happening before or after the Lego Batman film?
After the Lego Batman film, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there isn't actually an official release date yet, but it looks like it's headed for around 2018.
That seems okay.
Yeah, so it's going to end up, I think Lego Batman is 2016, 2017.
Yeah, I think it's 2017, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to land after that. But apparently there's plenty of Lego films. There's some sort of Lego Ninja film as well as the Lego Batman film in the next couple of years.
Damn, they really hit one.
Yeah,
it's like they hit oil.
Yeah, they're really milking the LegoTit on this one.
And unfortunately, we have to end on sad news, as Leonard Nimoy, best known for his role as Mr. Spock in Star Trek, has died at the age of 83 due to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. He died in his home in Bel Air. Of course, he embodied the role of Mr. Spock for more than 40 years.
Yeah, I mean, what he did on Star Trek was a huge deal. I mean, especially because what he did as Spock was he gave the show a sort of a really special, defining character, and he gave us something that I don't think we'd seen before.
And of course, he did. Not only was he a terrific actor as Mr. Spock, but he also directed many films as well.
Yeah, I mean,
including several of the Star Trek films and Three Men and a Baby.
Yeah, I mean, I'm most familiar with his acting work, but I know that he was really a multi-talented guy.
And of course, our thoughts are with his family and friends at this time. And his final tweet was almost perfectly fitting. A life is like a garden. Perfect moments can be had but never preserved. Except in memory. Live long and prosper. And coming off the back of that sad news, this has been the Idiot's Odyssey episode 9. I've been Owen Murphy, and you can find me on Twitter at OwenM1990.
I'm Fergal O'Connor. You can find me on Twitter at Interspammer.
And you can find the Idiot's Odyssey on Twitter and Facebook at Idiot's Odyssey. And you can send us an email at idiotsodysseypodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on our website idiotsodyssey.com. And thank you.